Here, Nakatani gives us a perfect demonstration of how to approach the first round of a fight. Often, we see boxers make one of two mistakes. Some boxers are too eager in the first round, taking risks and being overly aggressive without yet knowing their opponent well, without having a feel for them.
Every fight in the first round is dangerous.
Others go to the other extreme and are too passive. It's true that the first rounds can help you analyse and settle into the fight a bit. But in the end, the first rounds are scored the same as the last rounds, and you may lose a fight because of being too passive at the beginning. Nakatani displays a rather effective mix, appearing relaxed yet lethal, remaining alert but with moderate activity. As you can see, he doesn't engage in big combinations or desperately seek a knockout, but he's also not afraid to throw his rear hand or capitalise on opportunities that arise. This is an ideal attitude for the start of the fight, remaining calm but alert. It's also worth noting how Nakatani takes control of the fight from the get-go, with little details like feints or distance control. One of the details worth pointing out is how he uses his lead hand. Notice how he turns his hand, placing his palm towards his opponent and raising it slightly. This shows great experience in the lead hand battles in mirrored stances.
Astrolabio in the red and blue trunks with the red Everlast gloves. You see
this hand position allows him to block all straight attacks from his opponent's lead hand. And to avoid hooks, he crouches and shifts his weight to his back foot. He moves towards the inside, which might seem counterintuitive in a mirrored stance, given that the outside foot position is supposedly advantageous. However, this could be another tactic to deny his opponent's lead hand, which appears to be his main objective in the early rounds. Nakatani knows how important the lead hand is at the start of a fight. From this position, it is very difficult for the opponent to reach with a lead hook or jab. This is crucial because without the lead hand, the opponent will find it much more difficult to establish their rhythm and will have to resort to the rear hand, which is riskier. Nakatani is dominating the fight with these small details and now knows that Astrolabio has to take risks to try to gain control. Although he appears passive with his weight on his back foot, Nakatani is actually highly attuned to his opponent's potential openings. In fact, he doesn't hesitate at all and strikes right away, and he does it with incredible precision.
Astrolabio, the tall, rangy bantamweight who...
Anyone could see that Nakatani is a great boxer from all the tactics and strategy he has been applying since the first round, but it is this last skill that puts him on another level. Take a good look. Nakatani has been very effective in delivering precise attacks to the chin. If a good boxer sees that his attacks are effective, he capitalizes on them until his opponent adapts and finds a response. But a great boxer, a true strategist, seeing that an offensive is successful, creates an additional problem for you before you can solve the previous one. That way, they overwhelm you with problems to the point that you feel helpless. That's why, after seeing how effective his headshots were, Nakatani decided to create a new problem and attack the body, which in fact led to the knockout. But what would have happened if the fight had continued? In this fight against Cortez, Nakatani also applies this fundamental concept. When Nakatani sees that an attack is working, instead of just repeating it until Cortez finds the solution,
another one, and another one,
he introduces a new problem. Why? Because by adding a second threat, Nakatani is increasing the effectiveness of the first one. If Nakatani only attacked the head, Cortez could figure out his attacks and adjust his defense. But by introducing punishment to the body so selectively, Nakatani manages to keep his upper body strikes effective for much longer. Not only does Cortez have to solve the problem of the jab that is tagging him constantly, he also has to deal with the threat that he will damage his liver again. With two open fronts, his analytical ability collapses. He cannot devote all his energy to stopping the jab because he knows that neglecting his midsection will result in him hitting the canvas. Here we see pick your poison in its purest form.
Here to go in round 5. Will Junto Nakatani be able to finish?
Body shot in the air.
Nakatani powers up his previous offensive by creating constant uncertainty in his opponent. The success of his upper blows is what allows Nakatani to sell the feint and land the left downstairs. And in turn, that punch to the body will cause Cortez to lower his hands a bit more in the next round, allowing Nakatani's jab to remain lethal until the final bell. In the end, Nakatani is not only beating him with technique, he is beating him with saturation. One problem is a headache, but two simultaneous problems are a death sentence. By adding the second problem, Nakatani ensures that Cortez never has the mental clarity necessary to solve the first. This concept is very clearly seen in level changes, but it applies to boxing in countless different ways. For example, if you find yourself effective with the jab, you start throwing the hook. It is one of the most basic strategic concepts in boxing, and understanding it as an overarching concept allows us to find the root and reason behind many of the popular winning tactics in the sport. Same as before, Nakatani finds himself in a mirrored stance. But here, we want to address a different concept. Let's skip a few rounds. In the meantime, if you want to internalize all the skills, tactics and strategies Nakatani uses in this video, we have added to the Skillr Boxing app a specific workout with these concepts. There you will find all his different jab variations, his combinations changing levels, lead hand techniques to control the distance, and many more concepts discussed in this video. Every week, we release a new workout related to our videos, along with the workouts of the week. You'll find specific technique modules, heavy bag combinations, and fighter and trainer workouts. Outthink and outbox with the Skillr app. Let's get back to studying. We will learn two things from Nakatani. First, how he manages to control the distance. Second, why his cross is so effective. Controlling distance is essential, especially for Nakatani, who has a fairly outlier reach for his division.
And we see Nakatani there at distance. So many times we see tall, long fighters not taking advantage of those assets. Nakatani is doing so.
Distance is relative to two subjects that are in constant motion. Therefore, maintaining distance is a dual task. Firstly, you must control your own movement. For instance, be able to move backwards when your opponent advances. Nakatani executes this perfectly thanks to his explosiveness, reflexes and fundamental footwork. But you must also take action to stop your opponent's movement, because no matter how much you move backwards, if your opponent keeps advancing, they will eventually reach you. Nakatani stops his opponent's advances extremely effectively.
Yeah, Santiago's going to be working all night long to get inside that long reach of Nakatani, and you see that he's having trouble closing the distance.
Often, he uses lead hand traffic to physically block his opponent's movement. Other times, he decides to respond with a quick combination as soon as his opponent closes the distance.
He draws a line in the sand, and then as you cross that critical distance line, he'll let that left hand go like that.
After watching Nakatani, the question that springs to mind is how he manages to be so effective with his cross. The jab is the key to it all. Nakatani first lands a jab that measures the distance and, above all, blinds his opponent for a few seconds.
Nakatani uses the right hand to blind his opponents, and it's that long left hand, sometimes to the head, sometimes to the body. We saw him throw it there.
That way, the cross becomes an invisible punch. The concept is pretty basic, but it's executed almost perfectly. You know what they say.
The punch you don't see is the one that hurts the most, and that's what Nakatani wants to do. He wants to hit you with that punch you don't see.
Speaking of invisible blows, let's analyse his fight against Andrew Maloney. And although we could discuss this spectacular knockout, we'd rather focus on his uppercuts. This fight turned out to be a bit rough.
Up. Nakatani, he's landing a few body shots, he's pushing.
With frequent clinches. Most of the exchanges took place at medium and close range. This made the uppercut quite important for both fighters. In terms of technique, Nakatani has one of the best uppercuts. He can use it effectively at long range and is able to generate leverage at close range. Additionally, he incorporates the uppercut into complex combinations. Sometimes mixing it with straight punches. This is possible because he could throw the uppercut from a long distance.
Walking right into these shots.
And at other times doubling up with the same hand.
Hook comes in, left uppercut again, right uppercut again.
Maloney also had some success with his uppercut. Although we mentioned earlier that Nakatani's crouch stance allows him to avoid jabs and hooks from the lead hand, crouching makes him much more susceptible to uppercuts. That said, it was not enough to stop Nakatani's dominance. Despite all that, some opponents are more durable than others.
Oh, nice counter shot.
Let's see what Nakatani does to dominate this tough adversary. At first, Nakatani tries to go for the knockout aggressively, which makes sense since his opponent is injured, but he soon realizes that this fight is going to be longer than he would like.
Will Chapatna get up? He will. He marches forward. Under a minute left to work here in round 6.
Therefore, he returns to outboxing and waits for counterattacks.
Nakatani takes a step back.
And shifts his focus onto evading punches and remaining elusive. With patience and intelligence, he begins to find opportunities again.
He's being calculated. Patient, Nakatani.
A bit off balance there, and just a strong combination of punches landed once again for Nakatani. Oh, that was a big shot right there!
We have said it before, and we will say it again as many times as necessary. Even though Nakatani has spectacular speed and is in excellent physical condition, sometimes that is not enough. It is his boxing IQ, the ability to recognize patterns, seize opportunities, and devise winning strategies that separates good boxers from great boxers. And we hope this video has contributed to the development of your intelligence in the ring. This film study series focuses on strategic and tactical concepts. We analyze fights to understand the purpose behind the fighter's actions, not just describe what happens. Strategy involves interpretation and may include some bias. The goal is to share ideas and spark discussion. So think critically and share your conclusions in the comments. If you're looking for a more objective breakdown, check out our analysis of Junto Nakatani, where we examine his technique, habits, and overall style. And if you like the videos, you can find more on our channel.